Updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Well, Jelly Belly wants Illinois to be the abortion capital of America. Welcomes abortion tourism. Ghastly business. I read about this story of an Indiana woman who came to an abortion mill in Champaign entitled the Equity Clinic. Positively Orwellian.
Of course.
And I couldn't help but think, I mean, this is sort of gallows humor, but I couldn't help but think of Bill Burr's riff on abortion. Even though Bill Burr is sort of a silly man of the left, his riff on abortion at a comedy special he did, I think it was last year, pretty good.
Because I don't like people telling me what to do, and I was just like, it's your body. Who the am I to tell you what to do with your body? So that always made sense. All right. However, I still think you're killing a baby. See? That's where it gets weird. I sit on the fence and the whole thing makes sense to me. Whatever anybody's saying, like, don't tell me what to do. It's my body, my choice. That's right, man. She's right. Leave me the hell alone. Oh, you're killing a baby. Well, I mean, there is that. You know? I mean, you know, if we're going to be honest, that is the whole purpose of the procedure. You know, you're not going in there because you got an earache. You're going in there because you're like, I got a baby in me, get the out of here. Right? You walk in with a baby, you come out without one. What happened to the baby, right? Something happened. So, pro-choice people are like, well, it's not a life yet. It's not a baby yet. If you do, I don't know what they say. Before you do it the first Thursday or the last Tuesday, you spin around one time. They dance between the raindrops. It's not a baby yet. That's what they say, which may or may not be true. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I'll tell you, my gut tells me that doesn't make sense. It's not a baby yet. That would be like if I was making a cake and I poured some batter in a pan and I put it in the oven, and then 5 minutes later you came by and you grabbed the pan, you threw it across the floor, and I went, what the f***, you just ruined my birthday cake! And then you were like, well, that wasn't a cake yet. It's like, well, it would have been. If you didn't do what you just did, there would have been a cake in 50 minutes. Something happened to that cake, you cake murdering son of a bitch!
Never heard that one before.
It's a good riff. I mean, because as now these matters have turned to the state level, we find a feeling, I think, among some. Well, it's at the state level now, so Illinois is going to be Illinois, and Indiana is going to be Indiana, and it'll be different. But it's a little bit more complicated than that, and you can't just walk away from these issues because of the overturning of Roe. Because Illinois and its political class are way left, way more pro-abortion than the public at large. I mean, the public at large, even in Illinois, is basically safe, legal, and rare. And Pritzker and the political class are, let's make Illinois an abortion dumping ground, shout your abortion, celebrate abortion, promote abortion.
Use it as a form of birth control. Like,
Among
look at
other
me,
things.
I got an abortion. I mean, people are celebrating that on social media. What is wrong with people?
And so this woman who filed a medical negligence suit last week against Dr. quote unquote, Keith Reisinger Kindle, of course he has three names.
Of course.
Abortionist in Champaign. Late-term abortion that took a horrific turn when an emergency hospital visit revealed half of a deceased human being found left inside this Indiana woman.
I thought we don't do late-term abortions. Oh, no, that's post-birth abortions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they also say
Bold jive.
late-term abortions, right?
Yeah.
For more on this case, pleased to be joined by the attorney representing the woman in question. He is Richard Craig. He's an injury attorney in Chicago. Richard Craig, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, so give us I sort of gave the top line, but give us the facts in this case and the cause of action against this abortionist.
Well, she was 22 weeks along, and she presented on April 1st, 2 years to the day now, to the Equity Clinic. When you're that far along, the procedure actually takes 2 days. So the first day on April 1st, they prepared her body for what they would be doing the next day. She returned on April 2nd, and he performed the abortion. And when he was done with his work, he caused a note to be entered into his chart, and these are his words: products of conception were visibly inspected and confirmed to be complete. And basically what he's saying is, I took an inventory, which you have to do when the baby is that far along, and to make sure that everything has been removed. Well, it's clear that he didn't actually inspect to make sure that everything was removed, because everything wasn't. In fact, there was, when she presented to the emergency room, they described it as half a preborn deceased human being. There's films. It looks more like 2/3. Yes. But there's no way that you could miss this if you had actually done what he said that he did.
And so, I mean, does that indicate something about that clinic generally, or this abortionist at that clinic? I mean, does this require further investigation? Does this speak to perhaps the lack of the lack of licensing and inspection related to abortion facilities in this state? What are sort of the larger issues at play here in your view?
Well, those are all good questions. I think, the one that I can answer the best is, I think that this speaks of a tremendous callousness on the part of this doctor towards this human being. I mean, this is
towards both human beings, really.
Well, towards both human beings, for sure. But, I mean, the simple step of taking the inventory properly, and he just apparently decided to forego it. And then, she called because she had problems afterwards. She was calling the clinic, and the staff would tell her, "Oh, take a laxative, take ibuprofen, give yourself an enema." Finally, she presented to the emergency room, where they discovered what he had, or more accurately, he had not done. And then she called him and asked, among other things, she asked, was it a boy or was it a girl? And his response, I mean, of course he doesn't know at that point, and that information is forever lost. But instead of just leveling with her and saying, I didn't look at the time and I can't tell, treating her like an adult, he said, I don't know. I'll go back and check, and I'll tell you what I find, if anything. It was a response to get her off the phone. And I think that from start to finish, it just speaks of just a tremendous callousness towards his patient. And the other questions, I think they're very good ones, and I think that they would be good to look into. Is this an aberration, or is this occurring?
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's the condition of the woman? I mean, and how dangerous was that situation in terms of potential complications had she not gone to the emergency room and made this discovery?
Well, eventually, I mean, it could have caused her demise, but she would have. I mean, it's hard to see where she would have just continued to ignore it. She was in tremendous pain at the time. Mm-hmm. He perforated her uterus. It is unlikely that she will ever be able to deliver again except by C-section, if she's ever able to deliver again at all. We just don't know. And then, of course, the emotional toll that this has taken on her has just been tremendous, and that she will never recover from.
So is this doctor still running a clinic in Champaign, Illinois?
My understanding is that he was running the clinic through the day that we filed, which was just about 10 days ago. Oh. I don't know whether he is currently running the clinic. This matter has taken on some media interest, and I don't know if perhaps that has meant that he has temporarily closed those doors. I just don't know.
I mean, is this
or maybe permanently
jail?
Close the doors. That would be nice.
Well, yeah. Is there any place else that this woman can go in terms of seeking state sanction against this doctor and perhaps his medical license? Pending this case, pending the outcome of this civil case.
Well, depending on what you mean by that answer, so there are governmental entities that oversee most professions in Illinois. They would not give her personal redress. Her only personal redress would be through the civil courts through this action. But if she were to be interested, for instance, in having his licensure investigated or whatever, there are governmental entities that could do that. I will say that I don't know how interested Illinois. I don't think Illinois has proven itself to be all that interested in regulating this area. It's pretty much the Wild West in this area, and it's pretty much been Illinois will take all comers, and with the most relaxed regulations in the neighboring states, and so you have people like my client who lives in Indiana crossing the border into Illinois.
Well, this Dr. Kindle, I mean, where does he live, and is he a professor or something I read, and then he drives into Illinois to perform abortions on the weekends or his days off? Is that true?
My understanding was that the Equity Clinic was open in Champaign, which is the town where our flagship college is in the state of Illinois, to perform these abortions on the weekends, and that he was driving in from out of state. I believe it was Ohio, but I don't know that for sure. I also believe that he was a professor or some position like that with an Ohio university, maybe Wayne State. I'm not sure, but I haven't looked into his background in that regard all that much.
And where is the? You said you just filed 10 days ago, so we're just at the outset of this case.
That's correct. We filed on March 28th, March 21st, and so the first step is we have to serve the defendants. So we named both Kindle and Equity Clinic as defendants, so they need to be served by the sheriff with this complaint. That takes up to 30 days, and then they have 30 days to respond to the complaint. So after you file an action, there's kind of some downtime before there's really any movement in any regard.
Well, we'll be following this case as it winds its way either to a settlement or a jury verdict. Richard Craig, Chicago injury attorney in this botched late-term abortion suit out of Champaign, Illinois. Richard Craig, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Business owners, now's the time for your business to make the move to a locally owned business bank. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you